Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths that is based on the advanced information given to us by the exam boards. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. For this question, it's really important that we understand what the words sum and product mean. Now, sum just means add, and product just means times. So we're going to start by adding the 5 and the 4. So that will equal 9. And then what we're going to do is find the product of 9 and 7. So we're going to multiply them together. 9 times 7, which is 63. So our answer is 63. To find if a fraction is equivalent to a quarter, you can multiply the numerator by 4, and it should match the denominator. So 1 times 4 is 4, and that matches the 4 at the bottom. So 3 times 4 for this first fraction is 12. Well, that doesn't match. 4 times 4 here is 16. Well, that doesn't match. 12 times 4 here is 48. That doesn't match. 2 times 4 is 8, so that does match. So our first answer is D, and let's see if there's a match for our last one, which hopefully there is. 8 times 4 is 32, so there is a match for our last one as well. So those are the two fractions. Percent means per 100, so 8% is the same as 8 over 100. Now we can cancel this down because it wants it in simplest form, so we can halve top and bottom, so it becomes 4 over 50. We can actually halve it again, so it becomes 2 over 25. So the answer is 2 over 25. To find the factors of 30, we're just going to write down all the factor pairs, or all the pairs of numbers that multiply together to make 30. So 1 times 30 is 30. 2 times 15, 3 times 10. Now 4 doesn't go because 30 is not in the 4 times table. 5 times 6, and we notice that if we pick 6, it's just going to be 6 times 5, it's just going to be the opposite. So the factors are all the numbers that we've just written down, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15 and 30. I'm going to start by working out what the building is, or the width of the building is, in centimetres. So it says 33 metres, and I'm going to convert that into centimetres by timesing by 100. Okay, now when it says it has a scale of 1 to 300, it means 300 in real life is 1 on our map. So all I need to do is divide it by 300 to find out what it's going to be on our map. So we'll just divide that by 300 and I get the answer of 11. So it's going to be 11 centimetres on our map. When collecting terms, you've got to make sure you're collecting like terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this question out, but I'm going to use a different colour for all the things that are like terms. So we've got the 14x, we've got the 8x squared, we've got the 8x, and we've got the minus 5x squared. So the like terms are the x terms, so 14x plus, I should say 8x, plus 8x, and the x squared terms are like terms, so we've got 8x squared, take away 5x squared. So we can do 14x plus 8x, so 14 lots of x plus 8 lots of x is going to be 22 lots of x. And we can do 8x squared minus 5x squared, 8 lots of x squared, take away 5 lots of x squared is going to be 3 lots of x squared. Now typically in our answer we'll always put the x squareds first, so it becomes 3x squared plus 22x. We've got to first of all work out how many parts there are altogether in our ratio. So we've got 51 saying yes, 7 saying no, and 13 undecided. So altogether we've got 51 plus 7 plus 13, which is 71 parts. Now each part is equal, so to find out the value of one part, we're going to do how many students there are, which is 2,911, and divide it by the 71 to find out what one part is worth, how many students are in one part. One part's worth 41 students. So each one of those parts in the ratio is 41 students. Now yes, because it goes yes, no, undecided, yes will be the 51 there. So it's 51 lots of 41 students. 51 parts with each part representing 41 students. And when you multiply those together, you get 2,091. So our answer is that 2,091 students responded with yes. There's a formula we use for this, and it is percentage change is equal to the amount that's changed over the original amount, and all of that times 100%. So how much has changed here? Well, we need to do 10,488 take away 10,254, so that would be 234. Divide it by the original, so the original was 10,488 because it's decreased from that amount, and then times by 100%. And so that's going to be 2.23%. To find the average rate of petrol usage, which I'm just going to call rate, what we're going to do is we're going to get the distance travelled by the car, and we're going to divide that by the amount of fuel used, so the volume of the fuel used. So the distance was 135 kilometres. The volume of the fuel used was 9 litres. We do 135 divided by 9, which is 15. So it's 15, and this was in kilometres, and this was in litres. So it's going to be 15 kilometres per litre. We're going to first of all have to convert these both into the same unit. So we've got minutes and hours. That's not going to help us much. So what I'm going to do is pick the smaller unit, which will be minutes. So I'm going to keep that 50 minutes. And I'm going to convert 3 hours into minutes. That would be 180 because we times by 60. And I'm going to just remove the minutes now. And I can first of all divide by 10, and we want to try and make it nice and simple for ourselves. So divide by 10 would be 5 to 18. And we look at it, 5 and 18, actually there's nothing further we can do with that. So the ratio would be 5 to 18. To answer this question, we basically need to find the lowest common multiple of the 10 minutes here and the 15 minutes here. So we're going to start off just by doing the 10 and 15 times table. So it would be 10, 20, 30. And 15 times table would be 15 and 30. So the lowest common multiple is 30. So after half an hour, these buses will sync up. They'll both leave at the same time. And all buses start service at 9 o'clock. So it will be half an hour after 9 o'clock, which will be 9:30. The first thing we need to do is work out what angle CBD is. So we're looking for angle CBD. And that's going to be 180 take away 170. And the reason being is it's angles on straight line. Angles on a straight line add up to 180. So that's going to be 10 degrees. So this will be 10 degrees. We then need to find out what angle CDB is. And this is obviously going to be 10 degrees as well because it's angles in an isosceles. So this will be 10 degrees, and the reason will be that it's an isosceles triangle. And to find out what x is going to be, it's going to be 180 subtract 10 plus 10. And the reason for that is its angles in a triangle add up to 180. So that's going to be 160 degrees. Make sure you state your reasons for every step of the working out, because there's normally quite a few marks for the reasons. So I'm going to write out the equation again just to give us a bit more space. And the rule we have here is if we have an x on both sides, which we do in here, we pick the smallest one to get rid of. So we've got a 12x and a 7x. And so the smaller number, or the smaller x, would be the 7x. So we're going to get rid of that first. So we've got our lines in, and we're going to take away 7x both sides. And so 12x take away 7x is 5x. And the 7x is gone, so it's just equals to 46. Then we've got the minus 4 to get rid of, so we're going to add 4 both sides. And then we've got this times 5 here, so we're going to divide 5 both sides. So we've got x equals 50 divided by 5, which is 10. There's a lot going on with this question, so I'm going to start off just having a look at the total amount of money. So I'm going to do this in pence, so 2,115 pence. And if each merit point is worth 3 pence, then we can work out the amount of merit points by doing 2,115 divided by 3. So that gives us 705. So there's 705 merit points. Next, have a look at the question here, this part here, where it says James has X merit points. Sarah has 4 times as many points as James, so she's going to have 4x. Robert has 69 fewer merit points than James, so he's going to have x minus 69. And we know that that equals 705 because we've just worked that out. And this feels like a solving coming on. So we've got x plus 4x plus x, which is 6x. Minus 69 equals 705. And we're going to add 69 to both sides. So we've got 6x equals 774. Then we're going to divide 6 both sides. And so we've got x equals 129. So x equals 129. That means James has 129. Sarah has 4 times more, so she will have 516. And Robert has 69 fewer, so we're going to take 69 away from that, and that will equal 60. A frequency polygon is like a line graph. In fact, it's a type of line graph. But it is when you have the data in a group. So we've got the data here as a group of 0 to 80. So there are 11 at 0 to 80. And then 18 at 80 to 160, and 6 at 160 to 240. Now, where am I going to plot this? It will involve putting a cross somewhere on this graph. And it would seem unfair if I put it all at 0, and it would also seem unfair if I put it all at 80. So what we do is we find the midpoint, the halfway point between 0 and 80, which is obviously 40, and we plot our coordinate there. So it seems to be going up in 2s, so it would be there. So that's at 40, 11, the coordinate. Our next one, we plot at the midpoint again, which would be 120, and it's just halfway between 80 and 160, and it's 18 high, so it would be up here. And then the final one is at 200, and it will be 6 high, so 200 is halfway, and we're looking at 6 high, so it will be here. Then when you're done, you need to join them up with straight lines. So I'm just going to get my ruler, join them up. Perfectly straight lines, and there we are. So we're given a right angled triangle here, and we're asked to find length AC, which is this length here, and we're given two other lengths. So we're going to be using Pythagoras. Pythagoras involves us labelling the sides A, B and C, with C being the one opposite the right angle. And we know Pythagoras is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Both A and B here are 4.9, so it'd be 4.9 squared plus 4.9 squared equals C squared. So we're going to add the 4.9 squareds together, and that will give us 48.020 blah blah blah. And here we're going to do a bit of solving. So we're going to square root both sides to find out what C is. So square root of 48.020 blah 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 is 6.929 blah blah blah. Rounded to two decimal places, this will be 6.93. So we're going to start just by writing this out. So m equals 7 brackets x minus 10. And we're going to put our solving lines in. I'm going to start by expanding the brackets. And we don't need to. We could divide both sides by 7, but I think this is a bit easier. And we're going to subtract, or we're going to add 70 to both sides. So we're trying to get x as the subject. So we're trying to get x on its own. And we're next going to divide both sides by 7. So we have m plus 70, all of that over 7 equals x. So x equals m plus 70 over 7. To find out what the value of x is, we first of all have to find out what the value of y is. And we can notice that we've got two sets of parallel lines here, and a line going through them. And we kind of got these f angles, which we have to call corresponding angles. So we know that 2y minus 50 is equal to 78, and we must write down the reason. So corresponding angles, and corresponding angles are equal. Now here we've got an equation and we want to solve it, so we get our lines in. We go first of all add 50 to both sides. So we've got 2y equals 78 plus 50, which would be 128. And then we're going to halve both sides, or divide by 2. So we've got 64. So we know that y is 64. And so we look back at the diagram to find out how we'd work out x. Well, what we can do, there's a few different things we can do. We could work out the fact that these two here are vertically opposite. That would be absolutely fine. But actually, if we look at this part here and this part here, these are also two parallel lines, and we've got this angle here and this angle are going to be alternate. So I can write that down here. So angle ECB is equal to 78 degrees. So this will be 78 degrees. And the reason for that is alternate angles. And then finally, if we know this is 78 and we know that this is 64, because we know what y is, then we can work out what x is. So x equals 180, angles in a triangle, take away the 78 we know and the 64 we know. And the reason for that is angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. And just make sure you write down all the reasons as you go. And when we take away the 78 and the 64 from 180, you get 38. So x is therefore 38 degrees. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor. And you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half a plus b times h. And a and b are the parallel sides. So these ones are the parallel sides. And the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula. So it'd be half a plus b h. So half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared. And it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack. So we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, the next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need. So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. So what's happened here is that the company's increased the amount of sweets by 15%. So we're just going to focus on that and work out what the multiplier would be first. So they started off with 100% and they added 15%, and then therefore they ended up with 115%. And to find that as a multiplier, we get the 115 and divide it by 100, and that gives us 1.15. So that is the multiplier they used. Now they used that multiplier on the original amount, and they times it by 1.15, and they got the answer of 69. But if we're working the other way to find out what they times by 1.15, we get that 69 and we divide it by the multiplier. So if we want to work out what the original number was, we divide it by the multiplier, and that gives us 60. So the answer will be 60. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.